Off the wall.
Good day, my name is Botlhale Boikanyo and I am a South African poet. I'll be reciting a poem that is entitled Africa, My Pride. And it goes like this. They call it Africa. I call it my motherland. They call it Africa. I call it my roots. They call it Africa. I call it Africa, my genesis. Africa, my revelation. From the mountains and valleys that stand tall in beauty to the rich African soil that brings music to my feet. From the forest rich in trees that gives me shade to that gentle breeze that feeds my soul. So again and again and again I say, Africa, my genesis, Africa, my revelation. I think of all its richness in minerals, from coal to gold, from silver to platinum, and I see how blessed I am to be an African. I think of all the good food that the rich African soul produces, from mealies to sunflower. I think of all its richness in animals. Big five, bonare le botlovu, botsukudu le mangau, resale bale malumetau. Au batung, how blessed I am to be an African. So with echoes and echoes and echoes, I say, Africa, my genesis, Africa, my revelation. Ontlenyane ya lefatshe o khabile ka mebala mme diteme le ditalente o di rwele jaaka phikoko. So pardon me if I sound too proud, but I am proud to be an African. So with echoes and echoes and echoes, I say, Africa, my genesis, Africa, my revelation. Thank you. Allow me to tell you about a little girl that I know so well. She lives in me. A little girl who dig deep to define who she is. A little girl who dig deep to find and refine her roots that unleashed her creative writing, her roots that inspired the artist in her and put her feet to dancing, her rich African roots that go deep beyond the soil. The soil that carried the feet of her forefathers, the soil on which they walked on barefooted, the soil on which they chanted and danced to the African beat, with determination, dignity, poise, and absence of fear. It is the soil that echoes in a soul and say, O Motswana, ngwana wa mmala wa sebilo, ngwana wa thari entsho, mosetsana wa Motswana wa thupa tsa maretlwa. For rich in content and texture, I walk tall with my head held high. I'm not afraid to be me and be proud of my culture, the rich legacy of my forefathers, the anchor of my tomorrow, the heritage that guides me to who I truly am. Ke Motswana.
I'm Sibongile and I'm a poet. My parents' love has always been a manifestation, too practical. I've watched my dad deliver all his promises to my mom, my father the delivery man, my mother the dreamer. She always packed her bags ready to explore for my father. I've seen them leave in all the love languages they had to give. My mother always had the smile to prove for it, even on days when she said to my father, "You leave me breathless. One day you'll be the death of me." I've seen my mother today, living her last breath, as my father took her breath away, granting her his last wish, saying, "You told me one day I will leave you breathless. Who am I not to grant you your desires?" Today I saw my father take my mother's life. I saw my mother smile through it all. Am I not just a dreamer's daughter who's lived in my mother's exploring eyes, as she saw my father in me every day, exploring the world? Here we are again, me apologizing for all the marks you've left on my body, me apologizing for all the tattoos you have given me. This is how our love has always been, an apology. Me apologizing for days when you were angry, me apologizing for days you left without saying anything. That's what I have always given you. Love letters of apology, my body as an apology, my life as an apology, my breath as an apology. I've always been apologizing ever since the day you met me, ever since you started bringing tattoos on my body. Sorry, I made a mistake.
You made a mistake?
Yeah.
Let's go over.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Here we are again, me apologizing for all the bruises on my body, for all the tattoos you've given me, for all these marks I have. Here I am apologizing for you living, for all the days you've been gone without saying anything. I am still saying sorry, writing love letters of our apologies. That's what my life has been to you, a constant apology. That's what my life has been to you, me apologizing for leaving, me apologizing for breathing. I've been apologizing ever since the last day we've set apart. Even today, I'm still apologizing.
Hi, my name is Pearl Ndlapo, and the poem I'm about to do right now is called Corrupted Minds. And this is how it goes. Corrupted minds and conflicted thoughts allow me to be the one that tells you a story of how I became a midnight statistic. He first guzzled over my trust, giving me no reason not to trust him. With his conscience engraved in his pride, he then took my innocence and craved, sicked more from where it came from. I could have stopped him, but I gave him my tolerance. On a silver platter, I then served him my soul for him not to save but to ruin. I stood in fear of my own heartbeat, gravitating towards the thoughts I thought I had buried. But then those with generous attention, they stood there listening. They waited in suspense, drowning in my sobbing eyes. I stood there in doubt of what I wanted to preach. Because what I had to beseech is was totally something I could never reach at the moment. I was a misfit, running away from a lich of my own shadow. I embraced terror when I had to stand on my feet. I looked as bold as brass, but I knew I was not. I was so cold and so stiff. And then my heart sang a weary song and conflicted thoughts.
3, 2, 1.
Heart so cold, loveless and broken, feet so weary, motionless and swollen, reputation ruined, done and smitten, soul so lost, punished and smitten. I stand in the throne of worship in complete silence, and I'm about to tell you how I sang my song. My heart is on flames, so who can I blame? For bringing the shame, I'm now losing the game of reaching to fame. This will damage my brain if I see the rain, and on my studies, I will fail. Tick, tock, My stomach is empty, which means I'm living with poverty. I have a baby on my womb. I call it teenage pregnancy. So how can I reach to liberty while my life is a misery? Perhaps this is because of my daddy who made me feel guilty for bringing hatred in my property. My heart is burning sadly. I should have, could have, would have. I should have learned to fight. I should have prayed so hard every night in order to sleep so tight. I should have raised the right that a woman is allowed to ruin a sight of a man who sins, right? And there I sang my song. My heart is burning sadly.
Off the wall.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, Sanmanani Kamalamu Busiso Mahlangu. I'm a poet and I make beadwork and some jewelry. Today I'll be sharing some poems. Yeah. Share some poems. Okay. Umalishoni lang sizoqale lethu ngamalahle ngezinkuni nangomlilo. Umalishona libomvu ezantsi lisithele ezintabeni sizoqale lethu elivutha ubusuku bonke. Ubumnyama buzozithoba. Lo mhlaba uzofuna ukuthi nezinkanyezi yakhula otshanini. Phakathi kwamabili umhlabathi uzokhanya njengesibhakabhaka. Izimpisi nezinyamazana zizoswela ugodi losithelo. Inkantolo ivikela amabhubesi. Biza lamadoda ayizilwane. Isigwebo sabo sibalindile. Biza namadoda angenacala. Isigwebo sabo sibalindile. Ukuthula kwabo kuyicala. Ngendlela bavala amehlo bafihla izindlebe bagoba amakhanda ngayo kuyicala. Biza umongameli, inkosi, umphathi sidolo. Sizophawula ukuthi lesihlalo asinagazi. Lo mphakathi uzobhidlizwa iqiniso elingaziwa. Izintombi zishabalala ebumnyameni. Naku kukhanya namuhla na umlilo. Uzoyivikela indodana yakho noma ingumbulali. Khuluma phela ungasabeli. Lo mhlabathi uzobhidlizwa iqiniso elingaziwa. Amanga ayaqhilaza umphefumulo. Ungalifihla lamampela. Kodwa uzothi uma uzama ukukhuluma uvela ukhonkothe. Uhambe njengenja. Isikhumba sakho semvusiwe lethuneni. Ulindeni ungakhulumi. Ulinde ithuna elinegama olaziyo. Ulinde kufe bani. Konke okulahlekile kuzobuya. Bonke abalahlekile bazobuya. Zolotha lelanga izinhlungu zishe, izinhlungu zibe yitshe. Ubumnyama obunyonyobayo buzonyezela lo mhlabathi. Uzokhanya njengesibhakabhaka. Sizofika la usifihle khona. I'll be reading from my book Surviving Loss. The poem is titled Wake Up. The water is boiling. Won't you make some tea? My baby sister will ask, with lightning striking from her chest, carving anger, her throat filled with trumpets screaming, because a truth will always be a lie. If not a lie, then it will always be a knife cutting through her heart. Outside, the water has been eating flames for more than an hour now. Our fire is a phantom star about to close its eyes, but we have to keep the fire burning. The wise men might miss the stars, but the flames will let them know that we've been waiting on God for years. And we've been waiting on God. My sister is 7, and I am 11. Our house has been standing on our young shoulders for years. The August wind bumped on the side of our shack. Our shaking shack is now handicapped on frozen wheels, not moving. We cannot afford to move, but we wait and hope that those who can will find us here. I hope you find us here. But when you do, please do not ask us to dance for you. We lost our legs to the cold. Poverty ate away our feast so we don't follow the footsteps of our parents. You want to know why our food is dirty? We plant our fingers on white soil to grow extra hands to put food on the table. We cannot offer you a glass of water, but you can take our sad faces for your thirst. We don't chew bones under this roof. There are pieces of our broken self lying everywhere. You might choke on our blood or stumble on our ribcage, but don't tell them that we are dodging death every evening. The candle watches us with caution. The dead bodies that have bent down with the squatter camp will beg us to wake. Wake up. Why won't you wake up? Wake up. It's because we are scared of drowning. There's a hurricane in the kitchen, cooking up a storm. I did not come to this stage by choice. I was swept by the tide while sleeping, and I've been sleeping for too long. I don't want to wake up because I'll have to watch myself die if I do. Tell my sister that I cannot change water to tea. Tell her that I got snaps and applause when all I was asking was a loaf of bread. And all I am asking is a loaf of bread. A mother in your pockets, a father under your jacket, salt in your hands. What about that loaf of bread? I don't need it anymore. My body has built a home out of hunger. Standing by the side of the robot saying please. Because maybe these words, maybe these stories are worth nothing when we tell them ourselves.
Off the wall. Get your back up off the wall.
We are Motive Black. And that's the piece of Solshaya ibizwa nge-Isizwe. So yeah, here it goes. Isizwe siyazila siyalela ngenxa mavilo sithi vuka wendoda uleleleni uleleleni uzadla insila zeintanga zakho. Isizwe siyazila siyalila ngenxa mavilo sithi vuka wendoda uleleleni uleleleni uzadla insila zeintanga zakho. Isizwe siyazila siyalila ngenxa yamavila. Those who are working hard, bayaphila. Remember, there's a thin line between existing and living. Hard work pays. We are definitely working hard on a humble pace so that we can get ourselves a comfortable place in this dog-eat-dog world. As they say, each and every dog has its day. Our good day will definitely come with success, freedom and happiness. And when it comes to freedom, we'll definitely eat
with a little bit
of Chris honey just to add the sweetness. Turn our pockets into Robben Island with Mandela smiling behind bars. Cause the start of realities comes with the greatest pressure.
knowledge that will surpass any physical pleasure.
And in a broke man's mind, wise words are of treasure. In effect, the woke are a joke, putting a lot of effort, but they are still broke.
Who can you blame?
This is the life that we chose.
Mama, who can you blame?
This is the life that we chose. Sivune sikuchalile. We reap what is so. Stay blessed, my nigga. Blessed, my nigga. Really think about it, Kobe West, my nigga. Don't stress, my nigga. Yes, my nigga. We all blessed, my nigga. But it's in Tupo, Bangalboni Pupo. Washu umfazi wephepha. Wathi isimo sendoda sisibona ngempilo kaNokusho. Besinokusho kwabamnyama inhlupheko sokwaba ufuzo.
Chocho isiqhelo soyisa ingqondo.
Nomqondo. And the best meal of the day, amathambo engqondo.
We may not have mind,
But we have a dream that's enough to get us by. Cause life for boys like us is never easy. Putting twice the efforts. That's why our hands are greased.
Kanti, what's the price for success?
Imali muni. It costs perseverance and patience. Using confidence, our best defense. We are hungry artists, feeling of compliments.
Kwasakudala sibulawa yini.
Nale poetry inabhadala ekutheni ngingatholi umsebenzi.
What can they tell us? Poets are
So
hungry.
anything that moves is a target. We've had more art attacks than heart attacks. And for us to defend, we had to attack.
Because we are no longer minors.
We're using a pen and a paper to dig for a treasure like mine.
Asikatholi isitoro sithengisela ngaphandle njengomkhosi.
Sazama nokuhlanganisa impilo okwe illegal connection
Son,
sinobungozi.
we had to
The calling was deep. Sinedlozi.
The stomach, it might be empty.
Yeah. But the mind is ambitious and curious to know why money creates distance.
For us in the future to have meters in the bank account.
To account why society doesn't have respect for a broke man.
Is it money?
Is it possessions that prove that one is a man? If that's so, our success is near. We are not broke, we're just shy millionaires. And as for Motive Black, the aim is to shine for your millionaires.
3, 2, 1.
Day and night we are crying, screaming, shouting, asking why. Dear Mary, you've lost your role as a father.
Sikhulile sibonile izandla zibambile umcabango ucabangile wena baba umama umhlukumezile kanti baba inkinga yini kanti wena baba what kind of a man are you bathi soja lifele empini khakha tu wena uhlukumeza umama ubusuku nemini amadoda ayavuka emsebenzini wena uvukele shipping kanti wena baba what kind of a man are you ubaba uyababa ubaba never fought for love was always drunk for life and started beating my mom for fun ayangena amanzi emzini awuboni kuyanetha endlini you are such a dictator uhlezi uthetha uzenza impetha ubeka umthetho you know what it is better uhambe before siku better angalo ngubaba sabantwana but that doesn't give you the right ukuthi ushaye mama phambi kwethu sikhala
Abafundisana bethu abantwana.
baba you have lost the track of reality punctuality and accountability usumdala kodwa sowaphenduka isididi baba buyela kwabaphansi ubatshele bakubonisa indlela Cause wena baba uhlulekile uba ubaba ngela qhamu ukuthi uba ubaba kwanomkhaba nokushaya kanti no ukuba ubaba ukubonisa abantwana ama-parents kanjani kusasa
And wena ntanga.
Yebo mngani.
Abangani bakababa they used to tell me ukuthi isikhathi umama ngekho
Yeah.
ubaba wayengavukelwa nhlobo.
ha ubaba engavukelwa
Yebo bengavukela until he got married to umama. Yabona manje baba uyavukela. Uvukelwa umama ekseni. Amanzi ogeza uyamthelela, impahla uyamoshela. Cabanga nekhekha ngene ngale emshadweni, umama usamsikela ubaba.
hayi sisi mna uweek njengale week egogogo every week we are sorry to deliver this poetically but we're expressing what we feel emotionally ubaba used to hurt umama physically sexually and verbally but that didn't affect us mentally noma ngabe ukhule bekuyuza bekabuser yekela utshwala bangabe yakuhlula siyakhuza i-past that you never go back and pass hama kantanga hama ubaba bekamhlaba umama ngamagama ahlaba njengomkhonto izandla ezigqwele inzondo amanye amadoda emadodeni kodwa wena baba bowuhlezi ujack bafazini kanti wena baba what kind of a man are you